welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Janika, and today we are going to be discussing The Last Resort. So we are covering, I am covering, I should say, the most recent episode of The Last Resort. I think trying to catch up at this point makes no sense. So we're just to help with, obviously also to keep up with Love is Blind for the most part, as much as I possibly can. I think this is for the best. So that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. So before we get into the episode, we're going to just do a quick announcement and goss. So, announcement, Patreon is up. And do you want to take part in that? We're doing Jersey Shore, at least probably for most of this year. And we will currently this month did Ashley Madison for the True Crime Doc. So if you want to take part in that, have fun over there. You can go down to the show notes where there is a link to join the Patreon. So that's that. Let's get into some hot goss. So this is a little more on the Tyler and Ashley split. So this is according to E! News. Tyler took to his Instagram stories on January 23rd to address his split from Ashley after just a year of marriage. Tyler stated that the decision to end their marriage was an incredibly difficult and emotional process for the former couple. He shared that the decision was made from a place where they still hold immense respect for one another. Tyler also praised Ashley and called her an incredible woman and confessed he only has love and admiration for all that she's done for him throughout the course of their marriage. Tyler took accountability for the split. You should do that. With the following statement. He said, "I take full accountability for my role and the difficulties we faced, and I respect Ashley's decision to move forward in a way that prioritizes her peace and happiness." Yeah, because you're a bloody liar. Tyler urged fans to embrace kindness and understanding while they navigate their split. On January 21st, in an exclusive statement, as mentioned in the OG episode, I believe, I did mention that Ashley shared that she had decided to end her marriage as it was impossible to continue without being given the mutual understanding and transparency that she needed. So, good luck to them. Moving on to the next piece. This is 90 Day related, and this is respect to Lita. Now, I can't recall if I've really been talking much about Lita and her situations, but I am now. So, Lita Margaretha was arrested on Friday. I think this was maybe about a few weeks back, on multiple charges, including domestic disorderly conduct while armed with a dangerous weapon. Lita was booked into the Adams County Jail just before 10 p.m. on January 24th. 90 Day blogger Johnny Yates was the first to report on Lita's arrest, and he revealed the charge of domestic disorderly conduct while armed with a dangerous weapon. A third-party arrest website states Lita was also charged with mistreating animals and bail jumping. Yo, fuck her. If you're gonna start hurting animals, you can go to hell. Vine, which is the article I'm reading, indicates Lita is currently still in the custody of the Adams County Jail at the time of the post. There does not appear to be a criminal case filed in court yet at the time of the post, which makes sense given that Lita was arrested late that Friday. The disorderly conduct and mistreating animals charges are both misdemeanors. The disorderly conduct charge carries a maximum jail time of 90 days. Ain't that some shit? But the dangerous weapon enhancement adds a maximum. Can't catch the whole thing. Hold on. Okay. weapons enhancement as a maximum of 6 months for a total minimum of 9 months of jail time. The bail jumping charge is a felony. At the time of her arrest, Lita was still out on bond from her most recent felony fraud arrest. The bail jumping charge simply means that she has been accused of violating her bond conditions, which includes not committing any crimes. So much for that. Just prior to her arrest, Lita shared a photo on Instagram that appears to show a bruise above her eye. So just trigger warning, just trigger warning. She's going to be insinuating that there's been domestic abuse from the man she married, which I can't remember his name right now. Saying, quote, "My husband physically abused me. I won't be silent anymore. Enough is enough." And there is photographs out there that she maybe posted. I don't know if they're still up. That is pretty clear that yes, something's happening. But I won't be sharing that. The photo was followed by a text graphic message that reads, quote, "I let everybody know why I filed for divorce back in 2024. I won't be silent anymore. Enough is enough." As Stark hasn't previously reported, Alita filed for divorce from her husband Eric Rosenbrook early last year. From the previous article that Fine had, they said, quote, "Court records show Lita filed for divorce on February 12th with a stipulation filed on Valentine's Day and a proposed order filed on February 16th. The court dismissed the divorce on February 21st, but that was not the end of it. Lita, employing some of her creative accounting tactics, attempted to dodge the divorce filing fee. The petitioner paid $180 via check and $4.50 via cash. A court docket entry from February 28th states, "Petitioner issued stop pay on check, therefore owes court $180. Many commenters online are speculating that Lita and Eric must have gone into an argument during which Lita had a weapon in her possession at some point. The statute Lita allegedly violates leaves the door open for the weapon to be pretty much anything, such as a knife, a gun, a hammer, etc. Anything that you could use as a weapon, basically. The speculative narrative continues with Eric calling the police and Lita making the Instagram post prior to the cops' arrival. Just a mess. And through all of this, all I can think about is where is her son? Like, where's her son through all of this? Like, this is ridiculous. Anyways, that is that for that piece. Let's move on to the next and last. So this is below deck sailing yacht related. So the tumultuous romance between below deck Stu, Danny, and Chase continued long after the filming wrapped. So we know this a little bit. So we're going to just dig a little deeper into that. With stunning new accusations launched against the former couple. Danny caused a stir abroad the Parzival 3 by hooking up, as we know, with a string of men, often to the dismay of her crewmates. Danny's confidence and persistence were endearing, maybe to you, but her job performance frequently fell by the wayside as her personal life took center stage. So on January 27th, 2025, an episode of Watch What Happens Live, Andy Cohen pressed Daisy and Aisha for an update about the former couple. Aisha and Daisy admitted to hearing quote-unquote rumors about a falling out between Chase and Danny. Aisha further divulged that while the couple was together, the situation grew dark and toxic. Danny and Chase were forced to quote-unquote leave town after failing to pay for sailboat repairs. Although Daisy hadn't heard all of the details of the story, she corroborated that Danny and Chase's relationship grew very negative. And that is that. Oh, right. So let's move on to the reason that we are here. And that is Last Resort Season 2, Episode 12, On Her Last Legs. So we kind of see this as the aftermath of the camping and everything. And Stacey, showering after the whole thing, she says, "I had sand in my crack." You know, you've reached a new low when there is sand in your crack. So she kind of says to Florian after that comment, "What did you and I talk about? Look like you guys were just walking off into the sunset like two little lovebirds." And he's like, "What? That was unnecessary. Really and truly, that was unnecessary. She didn't need to say that." But then she does say, like, "I do know that you want to, help people, but like you need to remember like what we are here for. We're here to work on ourselves." And she does say that she is also a little bit nervous, maybe she's a little bit on edge, just because someone's coming, and that is Darcey. Darcey's on the way, y'all, to do some family therapy, and I cannot wait. Now we're back with Jasmine and Gino, leaving off with him telling his secret that he should have just said. He says like um that he wishes that he told her that he was having the bachelor party, because obviously he says that's kind of when the things in the relationship kind of went downhill. And I'm like, couldn't you just said that though? Like, I don't think that's like a crazy thing to say. Um, I don't know why he didn't just say that. But anyways, um, he says, and I think this is kind of the only moment that I felt, okay, that's at least him showing some, I don't know if it's even remorse, but understanding and realizing that the kind of is the start of things anyways in America. But he says like because of that, because of how she found out, it was kind of the start of the end in the terms of this is when they started sleeping separately. So she says to him that she appreciates the apology, but that she does want to leave the past in the past and move forward. But she says that she does need to get ready. She's planning to meet Stacey and Julia before dinner, so she's going to go and do that. So then we are with Ari. She's calling her sister the one who hates her. Yeah, her. Avi is the sweetest. Avi looks just like Bini. And Ari kind of fills in her sister on everything that's been going on, which is obviously not good. But Avi comes on the screen after that, and he kind of says, "She is the best mommy," which is so sweet. And he says that Bini is the best daddy, also very sweet. And it was kind of in this moment, like she's annoying as hell, but it was kind of in this moment when I'm realizing, just I don't know fully, but whatever her motivation or whatever her end goal is here, or it's not even so much that. I do believe that she is here to bring Benny down, but she's bringing Benny down in the hopes that I think something is going to happen. But here's what I'll say. In her mind, she's here to fight for her marriage, her family, so that her son can have the parents together. While Benny is fighting for his passwords for social media. Like they're not even on the same page on what they're fighting for. Anyway, then we see Florian meeting up with Gino. Y'all, this meeting that we have between Gino and Florian, and we also have with Stacey, Jasmine, and Julia is interesting, to say the least. So, yeah, so he's meeting up with Gino to talk to him. He's agreed to talk to him for Jasmine. He does say to Gino, yeah, Jasmine apologized, blah, blah, blah. And Florian tells him, "I told her to stop disrespecting you." And I'm thinking like, oh God, oh God. But don't you worry, Florian is going to come through. And anyway, so he says that, and he says that she said that she was going to change. Which Gino's like, oh, well, she didn't tell me that. But then he kind of says, there does need to be, how do you say, more intimacy, or he actually says like intimidation, I think, basic intimate. And Gino says to him, I need to see an effort. We're kind of hearing the same freaking rhetoric. I need more effort. I need more effort. And he says, I have not seen that. And I'm like, wait a minute. My girl just a second ago literally said to you, after finding out your thing is, your thing is, the bachelor party, be more transparent with her. And she literally, without like getting mad about it or whatever, literally says, I appreciate the apology. I want to leave the past in the past. I think that's her being understanding, patient. She didn't try kissing you, God forbid. Like, she didn't do any of those things. So when I'm thinking of, like, you need this quote unquote effort, I'm like, what was that? She respected your boundaries in the tent. What are you talking about? Like, you guys have seemed pretty okay for the most part. What are you talking about? So, yeah, so he says that. And he says, I need multiple days of no fighting. And he's like, she can do it for like a couple of weeks, but like that's not enough. I need at least like a month or two or three. So here's the thing. When he says that they fight all the time, I'm thinking he's meaning this is every day or every other day. Not that she's going 2 weeks, no fighting, no nothing, doing what you want her to do. And that isn't good enough. I would be frustrated as well. And the thing is, that he's also not communicating that to her, that 2 weeks isn't enough. I need a month at least, a minimum, or three at max. He's not telling her that. Because, and I'll say hold on to it, because I'm going to have a theory as to why he doesn't, but I'm going to wait until Julia spills the beans in a minute. And it's just, 2 weeks is a long time to go without fighting, especially when you're not having any sex. A month to 3 months is unrealistic to not have disagreements, arguments. I'm not even saying fighting, but just, I feel like even an argument is an issue for him. And I'm just like, that is unrealistic. That is just, that's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. No one. And it kind of lends me to think, 'cause I don't know why it was taking me so long to kind of put those pieces together, but I'm going to put a reality gaze as the reason. Like, 'cause I hear them saying it wasn't quite clicking for me, but especially Jake says he's on the spectrum. He's confident that he must be on the spectrum. In this episode, with especially talking through it too, and kind of hearing what he's saying, yes, I 1,000% agree, because this is something my brother would say to us. Arguments to him, or just saying anything potentially negative, even if it's not necessarily directed at him or whatever, he views that as yelling. You could talk to him in this tone of voice about something that might be negative, and he classifies that as yelling. So I do, and it's not even so much about it's the amplifying. I do wonder if he would even think of bicker or an argument that is a normal thing to go through in relationships. You're marrying two people with different um personalities and needs and wants and all that. And I do wonder if he would view an argument or bickering as a fight. He is amplifying it and then creating. But I think there's that, and that may be the potential ASD. But then on the other hand, him saying a month to 3 months, that's the control. That's the control. Which, again, people with autism need to have that control. So, or maybe some, and maybe not all, but I can only speak to what I experience. So you kind of need that control. So I do wonder if that control is because of potential ASD or if the control is because he's like a monster. And you know what? It could be yes and. So I don't know. Um so Florian is like, wait, what? Because again, I think he's thinking the same as I just said, and he's like, a couple weeks. He's like, does she need to sign a contract? Like, a couple weeks is a long time, he says. And Gino's like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Again, I understand he's in his own head and he's stubborn. And again, that could be a mixture of age, I know best, but it could also be ASD. So it's it's interesting to kind of maybe be like, oh shit. Yeah, I think there's definitely something to what I'm hearing. So yeah, he says, no, it's not. He's like, so this is where he says I was thinking more a month to 3 months. And he's like, I know it can be done. Like, that's how it was in my past relationships. Like my ex-wife, I was with her for 7 years and we never fought. So wait, you're with this woman for 7 years. You claim you never fought, which I don't buy for freaking second, because it's impossible. You claim you two never fought, but she is your ex-wife. So I have a question, and Florian had the same one. Well, then why aren't you with her? Why aren't you with her? If things were so good, y'all never fought, then why aren't you guys together? Because you would think, and again, not every divorce or marriage ends um in potential divorce because you fought or whatever. Sometimes it's not as crazy as that, but clearly there has to be some form of a disagreement. And the thing is yes, Jasmine can be crazy, okay? But again, I say you knew this going into the marriage. But like I said before, if we're dealing with someone on the spectrum, we, even if they're having stern conversations about issues that they were having, he is still going to view that, at the very least, as an argument or a fight or whatever. I I think there's so many different theories here, but I think again, those theories could all be playing a role in what's going on with him. Like, there's no excusing her. She is crazy. She has been unfair to him at times. She has been over and beyond. She has been all those things. But that does not mean she deserves what's happening right now. Because at the end of the day, if he had a problem with it, he should have walked away. He didn't. He married her. So this is unnecessary now, right? So, yeah, so Florian says what I said. So Gino's response to Florian is, well, no, like we would have like little fights, but it's nothing like what it is with Jasmine. Here's what I'll say. as well. Like I said, I don't believe they never fought. And I also don't believe there are these little fights. But I think he is going to justify his reasons by lying or downplaying. Not even so much lying, but downplaying is lying, a form of lying. But yeah, lying, downplaying his relationship with his ex-wife in order to prove his point with Jasmine. Florian, after that, in the moment, basically says, that is fucking weird. 3 months with no sex? He's making excuses. He is in the wrong. Straight up. 100%. He is in the wrong. Simple. Let's take a break from them for a second, and let's move on to the girls. So, Stacey, Jasmine, and Julia were popping some bottles in Stacey's room. And Stacey is just planning to enjoy this calm. The calm before the storm. The storm, which is Hurricane Darcey. Jeez. So Jasmine talks about the tent situation the night before with Gino. And she's like, nothing happened. There was, we slept in the same tent, but there was no touching, cuddling, snuggling, nothing. Then Julia kind of says to Jasmine in this moment, I gotta tell you something. And she says that Brandon and Gino were talking, and Gino basically told Brandon that even if Jasmine is on her best behavior and does everything she wants him to do, he still has no intentions on having sex with her. So what is this all for? What is the point? She is damned if she does and she is damned if she doesn't. And there is no goalpost for her to reach. He's pulled that rug out from underneath her without telling her. He has, as Stacey says, no intention on working on this marriage. What is the point? And she says, this is just a punch. And Julia says, he doesn't want to change. And Jasmine says, I wish he would speak up. My question is, though, if Gino were to speak up and tell her this, how would she take that? Is she going to take that as, my marriage is over? Is she going to get mad? Is she going to try to force him? There's nothing that she could have done, even if he's not telling her, because he knows how she'll react. We all know how she's going to react. How I think a lot of us would react, though, really and truly. But at the same time, it's it's cruel. It is cruel to make her think that she's going to be able to have some form of intimacy with her husband when you have no intention of having intimacy with your wife. She can't even hug him without him recoiling. She can't even kiss him on the cheek without him thinking she's trying to have sex with him. There's nothing she could do to start some form of intimacy with him and him not want to he literally recoils at her touch unless he's initiating touch, which we'll get to in a second. So she says that this is why she feels that she needs to be in an open relationship. Because as she says, she does not want to be in a sexless marriage. She says that she wants her marriage. She wants to be with Gino. But yeah, she doesn't want to be in a sexless marriage. So she has a friend, y'all. And that friend is Matt. Matt, who we've heard her talk to previously on the show. Matt, who we know she's known for some time at the gym. Matt, who I've talked about on this podcast. Matt, who she is currently in a relationship with. Matt, the future father of her child, which I'll talk more in depth in another episode. That Matt. So she's breaking it down to them, saying she met him at the gym, and she kind of started opening up to him about the issues that she's having in her marriage. And she basically told him that I want an open relationship. Not, she claims, and I do kind of believe her, she claims that she didn't necessarily allude to being him, but here's what I'll say. Because listen, you've all had moments where you're trying to drop hints, whether in a relationship or not, or whatever. She's telling him this because she's dropping hints at him. Because if she wanted to have an open relationship with somebody else and not necessarily get him involved in it, she wouldn't have said it to him. So, I mean, either way, apparently he said back to her, he's like, well, I'll bang you. Sex is health. You know what, Matt? Yes, it is. Sex is health. Sex is important. Sex releases endorphins, which makes you happy. Sex makes, having releases and stuff like that is also good for your heart. Let's be real. Sex is working out, There's also that if you're putting the work in, everyone put your work in. Sex is important. And not only that, but sex also builds on intimacy. Sex builds the connections. Sex is a form of conversation, a form of communication. It really can be. And they are not having that, her and Gino. And I don't get it. I don't know how you could be in a sexless relationship. I do get, if you love somebody, but I don't get it. So then we see a picture of him, and I mean, he is hot. And Julia asks, so what do you want from that? Do you want romance? What is it that you want? And she says she doesn't love him. Not yet, anyways. She says she loves Gino. But Stacey asks, what if Gino says no? He doesn't want you to have an open marriage, which he has already said no. Stacey asks, are you willing to walk away? Because this is the thing. With what Julia has told you, with what Gino's telling even Florian, even though that's not fully the truth, because I do believe off camera, no one's around, this is Gino's going to tell the truth. With everything, though, that you're being told, nothing's going to change, no matter how you may feel about Gino, no matter if you love him or not. Nothing's going to change. So, are you willing to walk away? But Jasmine says that this is kind of a conversation she's not really ready to have yet. She can't answer that question yet because she loves him, and I do understand that. Back to Florian and Gino. Gino says, I do love her. I I do believe he loves her in the sense of this is a person he's been with for so long. He's married to her. And I don't even know if he really wants to be with her because I don't know. I really don't know if he really wants to be with her. But do I think he has love for her? Do I think he cares for her? Yes. Do I think he's in love with her? I don't think so. I don't think he's in love with Jasmine anymore. I don't buy it. And Florian basically says, well, you can do anything with love or for love, which what's love got to do with it? No, like love isn't the end all be all. There are other factors in relationships, and that's something I do agree with Gino with. But I mean, I think he's still misdirected here. But Florian does ask him, like, would you die for her? And Gino says that he would. But Florian, like me, says to him, so you would die for her, but you wouldn't fuck her. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense that you would die for someone that don't even want to have sex with. And he's like, fucking is easy. Just do it. What do you think? Your dick is so special? I don't even think it's that. I don't think Gino thinks he's the end all be all and his dick is so special and all this. I don't think that. I do think, like I said, it's a myriad of things. Do I think he potentially has a porn addiction? Maybe. Do I think that he has erectile dysfunction? I've been saying that for years. Do I think he has to control the situation and control her? Yes. I think it's a myriad of different things and not so much about his dick being special. And Florian says you are very stubborn. Yes, he is, 100%. And Gino says, well, I don't think so. But see, there's your stubbornness right there. Without you realizing it. Right there, you just said something in a stubborn way. And Florian again just hits the nail on the head and says, you're trying to prove something to her. And I do think it's that too. I do think it's, well, if I can't control you one way, I'm going to control you another way. Something you love and you want to do that is important to you, well, I'm going to control with that. And then Florian says, during sex therapy, when she said what she said about having an open marriage, he says that I think that's her kind of warning you that you're losing her. And Gino's response back to that is, well, I will not be forced into something. But here's what I'll say about that. Yes, she was definitely warning him. I do believe that. And that warning that, yes, you're losing me. Is that the way to go? No. Especially when they were actually having a good time. I don't think that was the way to go. On the other hand, I'll say it again. If you are showing some form of intimacy, and intimacy is more than just having intercourse. If you're showing some form of intimacy, working your way to it, slowly but surely, that would have potentially given her the peace of mind that she needs. But on the other hand, that needs to stay consistent. And once you're able to get there, it needs to stay consistent. And I don't think he would have any intention of keeping that consistent. I do think in his mind, this is a way to punish her. And I'm sorry, but something as primal, because I want to say what it is, primal and necessary in a relationship as intimacy, and again, not just intercourse, intimacy in a relationship, you can't use that to punish your partner. You can't. So he says that, she'll just fight with me again. And then, we're back at square one if I jump into sex with her. And Gino basically walks away to get more drinks at that point. And Florian is kind of like, make sure that he's away, far away enough. And he's like, the fuck? He's like, that marriage is over. Straight up, it is. It's over. It's over because, number one, first and foremost, it's over because of Jasmine and her attitude and her freakouts and all of that. Number two, it is over because Gino wants to punish her. And Gino is unwilling to make changes, but only thinks that she needs to make changes. It's over. So then, back with the ladies, Julia's like, can we call him? And she does call him, and he says, yeah, the gym is boring without you. Oh. And he does meet Stacey and Julia, and like, we got questions. What do you want? Similar to what Julia asked Jasmine, she's now asking Matt. And they're like, it's a platonic, is there romance there? Like, what's going on? And he says, we're just friends. But, if something were to happen, then, I wouldn't have a problem with that. He's into her, y'all. He is into her. He can't understand this patch-haired man not wanting to have sex with her. And Jasmine says that I'm sorry to call you unexpected. They wanted to meet you. And he's like, it's okay. At least this time I have a shirt on. Excuse me. So wait, have they had conversations with him shirtless? I mean, what? And they're like, oh, show your muscles, show your muscles. And he shows his muscles, which it did something to me. It did. And then Julia's with Jelly, take your shirt off. Like we're in a Magic Mike show or something. And Chippendales, take your shirt off. He doesn't take his shirt off. But Stacey's like, oh yeah, he's gonna flip you, spin you, and reverse it, and laying down, flip it. Yeah, literally, lay down, flip it, and reverse it. Yeah, come on. And if you got a big, he's gonna show it. Let's be real. I think that man has a decent, at least knows what to do, personally. Anyways, so I guess he kind of gets a stamp for approval. I mean, both of them do say, like, is open marriage something that I'd want to do? No. But who am I to judge? So now it's time to go to dinner. Sophie looks cute in her outfit. I actually really liked her outfit. It was cute. Kind of had like a 70s Cher kind of feel to it. I kind of liked it. Anyway, Gino says to Jasmine, you look beautiful, and he hugs her. I think hell froze over because here's my thing again, is he showing a form of intimacy because of this conversation he's had with Florian? Is that gonna stick? Or is this genuine? I don't know. But I can see when he hugs her, Jasmine's awkward. Jasmine doesn't know what to do with herself. And I do think it's a mix of what is happening here because he would never do this if no one was around. That's the other thing. Secondly, after what she's just heard from Julia, she's confused. So it's a lot. So Julia is like, what the fuck was Ari today? And she's like, I just wanted to breathe and I'm being attacked. She's like, all I ever did was listen to her, help her, whatever. And that's what I get. But we all agree, let's just be positive tonight. Meanwhile, Stacey is sitting on a secret that she's like, that's not gonna happen. At least not for her. So Stacey then tells everybody, listen, Darcey is here, and Jasmine's face in this moment was like, oh my God. Oh my God, I'm meeting Darcey. Oh my God, I'm meeting Queen Darcey. Oh my God. Like, she's freak. She would look like how I would look if I knew I was going to meet the Silva twins. I'd be like, oh my God, it's happening. I am manifested. It is happening. Like, I'd be freaking. Jasmine is everybody. So, and she says she is planning to come to dinner. And she says her, Darcey and Florian have a very weird dynamic. Apparently, there's been times where Darcey has called Florian at 3 a.m. The fuck you say? Why are you calling him a man at 3 a.m. in the morning? That is the witching hour. Nothing good happens at the witching hour. To basically like go party or whatever. Saying, she would say like, oh, Darcey's boring. Georgie's boring. So let's just go have some fun. Maybe, I mean, I think that's a major thing between Stacey and Florian. But we're also hearing that there's issues between her and Georgie. And I think at this point, they have only maybe been married a few months. Maybe partially why you're having issues with Georgie, besides him potentially hiding money in socks or whatever. I miss the show so much. Um, Maybe the reason you and George are having issues is because you're newlyweds and you're taking off with your brother-in-law at 3 a.m. in the morning. Or did I say 3 a.m. in the morning? That's redundant. Damn. Anyways, um, then Natalie and Josh come, and Natalie basically just looks like a deer in headlights. She is just like, she doesn't know what to do with herself. And Stacey is like, there is always this competition. You think? You think? Ma'am, I've known this since, I don't know, y'all, not even just y'all, Darcey's second season. There's always been a competition between these two. They have to be in a relationship at the same time. They have to be married at the same time. They had kids at the same time. They got divorced from their ex-husbands at the same time. Everything has been at the same time. Same time, same time. It's been literally the same time. It's always this competition. If Darcey's miserable, Stacey has to be miserable. If Stacey's happy, Darcey needs to be happy. Like, you know what I mean? It's always been this weird thing between them. This isn't new. This is not new. And apparently Darcey will always say, oh, like, I'm 7 minutes older, blah, blah, blah. We are equal, she says. Like, we're equal. And Florian says, Darcey's like my sister. And Stacey says, she's not your sister. She's your sister-in-law, but she's not your sister. But I think what we need to understand here, and I definitely understand him here, and I'm on the side here. As we know, he's lost two sisters, one very recently, or at least in the last couple of years. And he's clearly struggled with that. And I think he says they can't be replaced. But he's not going to deny Darcey because he sees her as a sister. He just probably wouldn't be able to forgive himself if he did. And on that note, too, I do think that Darcey can't necessarily do that either. Because the thing is Stacey doesn't have that similar relationship with Georgie. Darcey has this relationship with Florian. She sees him as a brother. And let's not forget, she and Stacey lost a brother. And I think they have, yes, what she classifies as quote unquote a weird dynamic. But I think it's an understandable dynamic. I get it. Do I think it's appropriate? No. Calling your brother-in-law at 3 a.m. in the morning as they come out because these two are boring is inappropriate. But I do understand it. And I think Stacey can't. Biggest thing being, this is her husband. Second thing being, she doesn't have that relationship with Georgie. She doesn't, at least what I remember, didn't particularly like Georgie, didn't trust Georgie. So I think she's not going to fully understand that. She didn't really have that dynamic with a man that Darcey's been with. She definitely didn't have that with Tom, or what's the was that one there? Um, I hate is out of my brain, and I'm okay with that. We're gonna move on. So he says that doesn't want to cut Darcey off, and Stacey says she doesn't expect him to necessarily do that. Um, but she does kind of want him to respect her. And Florian says, I feel like I'm in the middle. I can't pick sides, which maybe I'm going to respect that and say, yes, maybe you feel like you can't pick sides. But in public, in front of others, Stacey is your wife. You pick Stacey. And even if you don't agree with her, you tell her how you really feel. And, you know, between four walls, when no one else is around, she does say, pick my side. My side. I'm your wife. And then at that moment, the heavens open, the birds are chirping, the angels are singing, and we just see this woman walking in slow-mo. Just listen, if this doesn't give us Darcey and Stacey, I don't know what will. If they don't deliver, shame, shame. We need it back. I need it back. But in walks Darcey, looking plasticer than I remember. But here she is nonetheless. And she, walks in. She's instantly saying, like, what's up, Flo? You look happy. That's a dig. You look happy. Hey, Stace, you don't. And then she goes to Stacey, and even though, like, this is incredible, even though Stacey is just uncomfortable, nervous about Darcey being here, not sure how this is going to work, they still can't help themselves. They still can't be like, do it big. They can't help themselves. They're just like, oh, 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 oh. And I swear she said like something, something mean. I don't even know. So basically she's like, we need to, like, she kind of says to Florence, Stacey does, like, we need to fix our relationship and this is why we're here. And Darcey's like, well, I'm here to fix our twin bond. It's important. And I actually agree with this. She says, like, in order for us to be healthy in our other relationships or intimate relationships, we need to fix the twin bond, because when we don't fix the twin bond, everything else falls to shit. It is toxic behavior, which gives me great TV, but it is true. They need to not so much fix the twin bond, but I think create boundaries. I think that's more what we need to do. But anyways, Georgie is not here. Darcey kind of felt like this wasn't a good idea to bring Georgie. But Stacey does say, like, well, maybe y'all could have, fixed, worked on your relationship, because y'all need to do that. Because, I mean, again, if he's hiding money in socks and shit, like, we need to address why he needs to hide money in socks. We need to get down to the root of the issue. Anyway. And, yeah, but she says she just didn't, And Stacey basically says, yeah, she infiltrates my relationship, but then she can't even talk to her husband. Yeah, basically. I don't even know what to say. Yeah. And she says, like, I don't think she wants me to be happy, Stacey says, because she is unhappy in her marriage. Ding, ding, ding. Darcey says that Florian apparently in the beginning of his relationship with Stacey slid into her DMs. And Stacey's like, no, 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 no. Tell the people. Tell the people. And this again is like Darcey warping in her mind a situation when it's like I believe Stacey, where he didn't slide or slid into her DMs because he's interested in Darcey and Stacey, like creating some weird kink. He slid into her DMs thinking of Stacey. That's it. That's all. But Florian, he says that he or someone, or was it Stacey, asked him if he was sexually attracted to Darcey, and he's like, "Oh no, no, you took it too far, Stacey. You took it too far." He's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" You know, you took it too, and I agree. She took it too far. He's not. I don't think he's sexually attracted to her. I don't think he is wanting to do anything with her. He loves her like a sister, and I do think that. And yeah, like, that's so weird. But Darcey does say, for 1 minute, it's like, okay, Darcey. She says, I do think that he should be picking his wife. I do. But I mean, she's a Debbie Downer. Like, no, it doesn't matter. She's a Debbie Downer. Doesn't matter any of those things. He knew that. They were together for years before they got married. He knew what he was signing up for. Like, they've been together a long time. So it was just like, no. And then Stacey's like, Darce, Flo told me something, but you told him. You know, I'm going home. I'm going home. Darcey's like, wait a minute. Don't start something and then, like, not tell me. And she's like, no, I'm leaving. It's upsetting. So, Florian, I'm going. Don't follow me, Stacey. Don't follow me. Don't follow me, Stacey. And she's like, what did he say? Like, again, yeah, don't start something. And Stacey's like, I know what I know. She's like, I want to know what you know. And Darcey's like, did I trigger you being here? Like, why can't you talk? And she's like, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm done. And she is going to the room. They go to the room after her, and Darcey's like, can I come in? And she's like, you can do whatever you want. And Darcey's like, oh, come on. And she's like, no, shut the fuck up. No, you don't tell me to shut the fuck up. Like, they're, and then this, and then this. Stacey, like, look at you coming in here with your fringe dress and all that. She's like, yeah, I'm a cowgirl. Yeehaw. What the fuck? I'm a cowgirl. What? It's just these two, they're delivering. They're delivering, that's for sure. And Stacey said, like, you have a better connection with him. So take him. Take him. And she's like, oh, I'm married, honey. Like, no, thank you. And she's like, this is a bad look for you, Stacey. This is bad luck. And Florian tells her, Darcey, or says, sorry, back up. Stacey tells Darcey, Florian told me that you basically said that he would be better off single. And she's like, no, I didn't. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. Because she does say, well, maybe I was angry. Maybe I was angry. You don't do that. That's not nice. This is your sister. And she's like, why do you call him at 3 o'clock in the morning? Do you want to fuck him or something? Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, has this happened or something? Like, have they dealt with potentially having sex with the same person? Or one of them trying to steal the other's boyfriend? Like, has this happened? Like, this is boundaries like you just don't cross, especially with sisters. Anyways, Darcey then says to Stacey, "You don't look happy. You don't." And Stacey comes in with the stinger and says, "Yeah, I am happy when you're not around." I think they need to create distance. I mean, not too much distance. I mean, more like stay in Miami together, but maybe live in different apartment buildings a block away. Stay close, but far away, you know? And basically, Darcey's like, "I'm out. Don't leave. Don't leave me. You need to stay. They'll be fine." Stacey is drunk right now. Darcey is confused. Florian is like, "Jesus Lord." He doesn't know what's happening. And they'll be fine. They're going to work through this. Basically, that is it for this episode. I love that Darcey is here. I love that Darcey and Stacey are together. This is what we need. This is what we want. This is what we're hoping creates another season of the show. It's been too long. But anyway, that is it for me. Next, I don't know what's coming next. If it's going to be Love is Blind or something different, but we will see. We'll see what I get to. But that is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps. Every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks.